Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. We are on the Summer Starlet kickoff today. It's our quilt along for this quilt using my front porch swing fabric and the book from the Fat Quarter shop called Fat Quarter Style. So this is done with fat quarters, imagine that. And it's one of their earlier books and it's still got such fabulous things in it. So I am so excited for us to do this because as a summer sew along, it is super easy, very relaxing sew. So I want to go through and kind of tell you all the components and show you the construction of a block. Now, of course, I'm not going to tell you the sizes because you need the book. But I know a lot of you either had the book already or you got it for this sew along. There were kits and there would be more and there will be more, but we sold out. I mean, like everywhere. So we had to reprint the white background fabric in the Fat Quarter shop. We'll make a few more kits once that comes in, which will be very, very soon. It's on its way. It's on its way. So first, let's just take a look at the components of the quilt itself. So it is a nice, easy sew. It's a repeat block. It is this really nice long star, which is so fun. I love the shape of this star. And then what we have is 20 blocks. There's 5 across, 5, 10, 15, 20. And each star is done with the same fabric twice. So there are 10 different fabrics, and I will show you the fabrics down here on the table in a minute. So the first row and the second row, they're each a unique fabric used, and then the third and fourth row, repeat those fabrics, but the order of the blocks is switched around. So that way they're not like structured looking. And so that means for the project, and I have this over at the project page too, this information about the days that we're doing this. We're doing this so long, I'm going to push it one more week, so it'll be 7 weeks. That means in week, I got it down here, week 1 through 4, we will do 4 blocks. And then in weeks 5 and 6, we'll do 2 blocks. And then we'll put it together. So that way, if you know, things happen and you can't get to the 4 blocks a week, which they are so easy, you're probably going to be zooming through this. But if you can't get to them, then the 5th and 6th week, you have a little catch-up time and then sewing it together. And sewing it together is super easy because there's very little sashing. There is side by side, the stars all match side by side, and then there's just some horizontal sashing between the rows and then a border of the background fabric. So that is a very easy assembly, which also means that as you've made the blocks, you can be sewing them together. Once, you know, you don't have to wait to the end to get a row. We can be doing sort of units together, and I will be doing that as we go along. All right, so let's take a look at the book itself and just see what the different components are. So each of the quilts in this book have 4 layout sizes. So there's 4 different sizes for each of the quilts. And so there's crib, lap, twin, and queen. So for all of you who love twin size bed quilts, this is the book you need to get because you're going to get a lot of twin size quilts. And they all are using a Fat Quarter. Now the instructions for each star, you know, each star to cut, which will be to make 2 out of the same fabric, look like this. Here is the diagram, which I love when there are diagrams like this. So it shows you on the Fat Quarter how to lay out for your rectangles and your squares, because we are doing sew and flip for a lot of this, and then there's a big rectangle in the middle. So how, and then there's you know, strips along the side. It is just so good. It is such a good sew. Let's look at the fabric for porch swing. Okay, I'm going to just walk through all the fabrics used in this quilt. So if you are using, oh, it's sliding. So if you are using a Fat Quarter bundle, you are going to need a background. And you're going to need 10 fat quarters. So that if you have a bundle, then you will be getting, you know, you can do the duplicates like this. You could do it where every star is different. If you bought a fat quarter bundle of mine for the porch swing or something else. But we're doing 2 stars out of each fat quarter here. So we just need 10 of the fat quarters in the star fabrics and then your background fabric. And so this is the one we're waiting on to come back in because everybody bought all of it everywhere. And so they had to print more. So here we go. We've got the large daisy. Let me just, what is this? Yeah, let me get this here in the middle. We've got the large daisy and then the purple, the deep purple with the small flower, and then the daisy in the black and white. And then this is kind of like the meadow. It's got like a open, more open field. The little vine in purple, purple base with the white vine. And then the teal, which is the dark base with the lighter teal vine. And I've been using this a lot for bindings and stuff like that. And then a larger scale tossed flower arrangement in teal and in purple. Here we go. Then we've got the paisley, the purple paisley, and the teal smaller scale grouped flowers. So those are all of the flower prints. Now the other thing you might find useful are these alphabetties. So if you like sort of marking your fabric as you go along, like placing down which the fabric is, these are fantastic. I'm going to use this packet because it's the latest one that I got, even though it's Christmas. I think they're just so cute with the little, it doesn't look that Christmassy, with the little wreath around them. Plus they have cute things in there. Look at this. Look. The house. I don't know. I just had to show you those. Those are in there too. They're just for fun. Okay. So I will cut. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is cut out 1 star, and then I will have it down on the design board here and then show you the assembly, how it goes together. So, okay, let me do that. I have a little tip for you because in this particular pattern, there's a few of the markings that the sizes that you're cutting that are not like a 1/2 inch. They're 5/8 of an inch. And so sometimes it can be a little tricky for us to keep track of that line because it's the 1/8 inch line, like the whole way down when you're cutting. So this is what I do, is I like to go ahead and take my washi tape, and this is a tape that will come off very easily, and go to that 5/8 inch mark through here where I'm just marking, all the way down. And then what I have is from here to here, and I'm lining up. So I don't have to try to figure out that 1/8 of an inch line. I just see it right here and put it on my fabric, and I can cut much more easily by putting this right up to the line. So I hope that helps. So let me show you the pieces laid out on the design board with the little alphabetties on them so you could just see where the numbering is. Plus, before we do that, when I was cutting for just 1 fabric, so 1 fat quarter, which is going to make 2 stars, okay, so here's what I'm talking about. I just needed to cut 2 strips of background. So the two strips of background. So if you just want to make 2 stars at once, like this, then what you can do is just cut 2 strips, and that will give you what you need. And I had this left over, which is wide enough to do more. So you're going to use it for other stars. So keep them. Just open them up, press them, and you're going to use them. Whoops, open them like this, press them, and you will use them for this cross piece, which is F. You will use them for F again. But to get enough background for just 2 stars, which is one fat quarter, they're duplicate fabrics, 2 strips. Okay, so then what I did is put the alphabetties down here so that you could see from the pattern. This is A, which is the big rectangle. Okay, and what they're doing is, because of construction, the lettering and cutting, even though it's the same fabric and same size, so these squares, they've got the B squares, is like when you look at the diagram and you're using B, it's up here, but they're the same size squares as C and D. B, C, and D are all the same size. They're just put in different places. So C will be going up here, whoops, see, the two C squares will be working on this side with the E background, and the D squares will be working down here with that E background, because they're sewn and flipped a different direction. So that's to kind of keep you in track with the diagram. And then that's all you need for this particular block. So I am going to go ahead, these are, I'll put this out here. So when you do these up here, they're going to be flying geese. So they're basically two sew and flips this way, like that. So you're going to get flying geese. And then when you're working over here for the sides to get the star point on this side, we are also doing sew and flips like this, and then a sew and flip like that. There you go. And you're going to get that star point. So I will do all of these side pieces and not attach them to the middle so that you can see what they look like. Here is the block in sections. So there are flying geese. So there are two blocks here. So I've got two sections of flying geese, and then the ones on the top. And then out here, here's how these look. You've got strips with sew and flips on each end. Now my big tip here is do not cut these yet until you check placement. Check that everything is correct so that they're all facing the right way, like this. You don't have one of them going the wrong way, because once you trim them, if they're wrong, it's going to be, pretty much you can't use it. So, or usually you can't. So now what I'll be doing is trimming them, and I will always flip them over and check. Flip them over to the back and check. And I do have one here that is not good. Like when I flip it over, here, let me just put it down here and get in a little closer so that you can see. Oop. Being dysfunctional. There we go. So do you see how this one is totally messed up? Like I didn't get on the line, so there's the triangle fabric is showing. So that means you can even see here on the front that I didn't get in the corner. So I will go ahead and take this one out and re-sew it. So I will check that one, but I will check all of them, because there could be, you don't want to have those problems because they really don't fix themselves. Sometimes you can kind of fudge it in, but because you're trying to, you're matching these, any kind of weirdness is probably going to show up. So I will fix this one and then come back and show you the whole block. Here are the components before the last parts are sewn together. I put the one flying geese unit up here. This one will go down here, and then you attach a side and a side, and then what you will have is stars. Lots and lots of stars. Here is the other one made up. So it's the first of 20 stars, which isn't that bad. This is the lap size quilt for the book. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. So it comes crib, lap, a twin, and queen. So it's the lap size with the 20 blocks. So cute. And that, of course, is the first block. Whoops, the first block up there. So also today we have the library quilt. And so we're gonna go because I have the vase pattern for you to put on the top shelf. So I had to change clothes. Spilled something, and that's just the way it is. New outfit. Okay, so here we go. Here are the summer starlets. Again. And I want to remind you that Kendall, our ambassador, has a YouTube channel, and he is also sewing these, and I got a sneak peek. He is a totally different fabrics, and they are so amazing. So you want to hop on over there. The link is in the description box below and at my website today, so that you can go check out his videos. He does a lot of videos for the sew-alongs where he is showing not only different fabrics, but he might do a full-blown sewing of a block or a unit. Plus he often will do sort of a different way of approaching the block, so want to be sure to check those out. So two other things on today. It is the paper airplane day. How fun is that? I know that I had a piece of fabric with a paper airplane on it, so that was sort of cool. If you have airplane related quilts, would love to see them. Share your quilts with airplanes on them or airplane fabric. And it's also cherry dessert day. So that means I gotta go get cherry pie. It just means that. It's totally have to do it. Okay, so we're going to do a mail call, and then we'll go on to the Liberty Quilt, where I have a bonus applique that you can put on your library shelf. Did I call that the library quilt? I think I did. I don't know. My brain's a mush. My brain's a mush. Okay, so first, a little mail call is from Dee in Tennessee, and she sent me some more of the aqua squares. Nice. I like this. I don't have that one. I don't have any of these, actually. I looked at them. So I'm going to put them right over there on the pile, right on top, so I can use them. Thank you, Dee. And then I have from Anita in Maine. Oh, she sent me such a cute card. Look at this with the little owl. So darling. And I am a lucky girl. Look, she had a piece. She sent me a piece of those watering cans that were in Wendy's Harrisonburg quilt. Remember, I went like nuts over the little watering cans? So darling. And these are from, I think, Amy Rosenthal. Yeah, Amy Rosenthal's fabric line called Homestead. Oh, thank you so much. I am excited about that. I want to do a blue and white quilt because, you know, because Wendy did one. So, you know, now I have to do one. And I have a wonderful, wonderful mail call from Ruth in Illinois. So look at the beautiful card. Look how pretty that is. So Ruth told me in the card that she is sending me her Liberty fabric. Her Liberty of London fabric that she actually bought when she was in England. She said she has had it a while. She's never used it. She intended it for some clothing making and isn't going to ever do that. So look at this. Look how gorgeous it is. Plus, she had 2 packs. And then the Liberty, look, you can see the Liberty sticker on the back. Look at that. And they also gave you hexagons and squares on here. I wonder what year these were. Because, I mean, the hexagons are great, but, you know, we could cut squares. So, but maybe that's for people who don't sew very much, so you never know. Okay, we are now on to the library quilt. This is the bonus. So it is 2 pages, cute little vase with, you know, a little flower in it, tiny little flower. So what I'm going to do is first show you the embroidery rather I did on the globe from last week. So here's the embroidery. This is the week 2. I am like the slow boat to China on this library quilt along, but that's okay. I am not in any hurry. The vase is going to go in this row. This is going to go right here. Now I also did something that apparently confused a few people because I got emails. You know, I was pinning this up here and talking about it so that I would just basically have a backdrop and you could see it in position. I'm not, this is a finished quilt, so I'm not replacing anything on there. I was just putting it there for conversation. That's it. Okay, I am going to go to the other side of the table and we're just going to do a little zippity-doo-dah of applique, and I have some links in the description box and on my website today to where I have some tutorials about this and also a full book, 2 books I've written on fusible applique. We're going to applique with Heat and Bond Light, and it is in the purple, not the really light lavender. That's Feather Light. It has a little bit different properties, and definitely not the red. Red means no. That is a Ultra Bond that do not sew with it. It'll gum up your needle in about 3 stitches. So Heat and Bond Light, and do the cutaway method. And this is going to be, I'm just going to show you a super abbreviated version of this to do my vase today. So that is the product I'm using, which is paper and then the adhesive on the back, and it's not sticky or tacky or anything like that. I am going to do, we're doing this on gray, remember, so my the gray fabric, yeah, so it's going in that slot I showed you, but it's going to be on the gray, so everything needs to show up on the gray, and this fabric line is all working with that. So the vase is going to be this one. I'm going to do the vase out of this, the petals for the flower, the center of the flower, and the leaves and the stem with my birdsong green. So that is where I'm going. So to trace this, there's no flipping or anything else. Everything, if it is directional, it is just the leaf is the only thing. The only thing is the leaf is directional. One is, you know, because this looks like a half a, you know, an oval. And I've already given you both of them, so you don't need to reverse anything because I don't need to save space on this pattern. So when I'm tracing, I am just putting the fusible, and you want to leave some edge all the way around it, particularly the bigger your shape, and hopefully so you can see that. And I'm just tracing it oh so carefully. It depends on your personality, but I can tell you this vase is not 100% perfectly drawn. So there you go. There's the vase. And then I'm going to cut this out, and I will, whoops, I like to use scissors like this, the longer scissors. I don't like to use little tiny scissors because I have to do a lot more cutting like this with little scissors, which is fatiguing on your hand. I'll just tell you that this part of what I demo usually takes me about 45 minutes to give you everything I do, if not longer. So I'm doing very, very abbreviated. Okay. So now we have the, oops, my thing needs locked in place. Is it still rolling? No. Okay, so we're doing the cutaway method or the donut method, which just means we want to cut through the line. I know, did you gasp? It's really much better. You do not want to bend your paper because every bend that you make in it is a potential release point for the fusible. So the fusible will come off of the paper, and you do not want that. So I'm just cutting away the inside, and because this is such a frugal method, you can keep these. And now I will trace, I can trace the circle on there. I could trace some petals. I could trace a leaf or the stem. So this is not thrown away, it is not used, and it is not in the middle of your shape, making it stiff and icky on your quilt. Your quilt is going to be very soft because your stitches are going to cover that little rim of fusible. We're going to cut on the line afterwards, and I am going to actually demo that. So I will be ironing this, pressing it to the back side. Now it has a bit more on this outside edge than I really want. So let me just get rid of that a little bit because it's kind of wasting fabric. I'd rather waste a bit of fusible than the fabric. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the iron, and I will show you that part really fast. All right, from here your iron is very hot, and I will press from the other opposite side of that cut. The cut is over here so that they come in and meet. If they don't totally meet, it's okay because your thread, your thread is what's going to keep everything down on the the background, not the fusible. You have to stitch it afterwards. And so now from this point, I will cut on the line and cut all the way around. This is like watching paint dry, but you are always cutting on the line. There is no seam allowance with fusible applique. You're not turning anything under. It's raw edge. And so we go around, up to the top here, and then I'll flip it over, and we will have a vase. And as you're cutting it, you can adjust your drawing however you like. If you don't want a pointy corner, trim it off, and then there's the vase. And so I am going to cut all the other pieces and fuse it down and show you what it looks like. And here it is. Ta-da! So it is just fused right now, and be sure to check out my book and my tutorial. I will do a little tiny blanket stitch to stitch the applique to the background. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love all these colors. This is such a fun line to use. All right, you also have your summer starlet blocks you'll be making. It's kickoff today. If you don't have the book, you can order it. If you have the book and you just didn't pick any fabric, pick your fabric today. And there'll be no video on Saturday, of course not on Sunday, and none on Monday for the holiday weekend. So I will see you back here again on Tuesday. I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.